Address Teen Stress. I'm Abba Shrestha, and welcome back to our Teen Stories Told series, where we interview teens or individuals that just crossed their teen years to share their mental health story and give us their thoughts and opinions on teen mental health. Today, I'm here with founder of Swear to Care, Soha Jashwant. Soha, can you please start off by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Soha. As you mentioned, am the founder of Swear to Care, a youth mental health awareness platform, and a campaign. I've been in the mental health sphere for, I guess, close to 3, 4, maybe 5 years now. It's been a while. Um, and specifically, I've been focusing on youth mental health for this time. Um, I initially started out looking at the youth mental health of specific community members, whether that be um, youth in juvenile correction facilities or youth in the foster care system. Um, and since, like, from there, we've just continued to expand, trying to reach as many communities as possible. Um, Either through my organization or just me going places and talking about what I believe in. So I am a college student. I'm a college freshman at UT Austin right now. Um, and yeah, I think that's a good introduction.
Okay, awesome. So, you are a well-known youth mental health advocate who has significantly impacted the teen community. So, can you please tell us a little bit more about your journey as an advocate and speaker? What has inspired you to get involved in this field of mental health?
For sure. So like I mentioned, we started out pretty focused, or I at least started out pretty focused on specific community groups. And that came to my attention through the local county judge's office. That's kind of where I started to find out about these specific groups of individuals in our communities that don't really get that much attention, that need this kind of attention, especially. And then, of course, when COVID hit, that was like the biggest catalyst. Everyone started to kind of realize how big of a deal mental health really is. And it began, I think the pandemic really began affecting everyone on certain levels. And it was for sure a catalyst for me, at least, to expand my reach and my work in order to help as many people as possible, whether that be on by educating about mental health or just spreading awareness about mental health. Um, the platform that I started, Swear to Care, encourages accountability as well as awareness and education on youth mental health. And we've done that because I believe that we can't really achieve that level of empathy and community strength unless we have community members that hold themselves accountable for supporting youth mental health, their own mental health, et cetera, et cetera. So I've always been into public speaking. You asked about that as well. I really enjoy getting my word out there. I enjoy speaking. I was in lots of extracurriculars that had to do with public speaking back in high school, and I've just continued doing that over the years. Um, I think the spoken word has a lot of power to send important messages, um, like mental health. So yeah, I hope that answered it.
Yeah. So, how do you think that your experience as a mental health advocate has prepared you to address your own stress? How do you maintain your own mental well-being while advocating for others at the same time?
That's a really good question. Sometimes I have to ask myself that too. Um, Managing something like this can take a lot of energy. It can get to be a lot since it is like its own organization. And outside of that, I am doing advocacy separately. So a lot of times, especially as a college student, you can forget to take care of your own mental health. Um, but I think being a mental health advocate helps me reflect on myself a little bit better and reflect on my experiences. giving me a little bit of more, I guess like what's the phrase I can use? Um, I'm able to be a little bit kinder to myself. Um, Especially when, things start piling up. And I can be like, okay, yeah, like we can take it slow. We'll figure it out. Um, of course, we share lots of resources for mental health through our campaign and our projects. And so, of course, those are great resources that I myself will try and tap into every now and then, whether that's stress management or otherwise. Um, but yeah, that's a really important question. So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, of course. So something that I kind of mentioned in the very beginning of our interview is that you are the founder of Swear to Care. So in your work with Swear to Care, you've secured over 800 pledges of support and coordinated with multiple different chapters internationally. So can you tell us a little bit about Swear to Care itself and how it empowers teens navigating mental health challenges?
Sure, I'd love to. So as you mentioned, Swear to Care is a youth mental health awareness campaign. Um, Our two main pillars are accountability and education, which basically means that through the pledges that we've acquired, we have had community members basically just sign on saying, hey, I'm so and so, and I pledge or swear to care for youth mental health in my community and beyond. So that kind of reinforces this responsibility that you're taking on in order to further build a level of strong community empathy. And then our education pillar is more of like that spreading awareness. Um, you might even say that our like political advocacy falls under that because we are trying to spread awareness and help it be known how important this subject is um, among all the other pressing issues of the world. Um, I guess right now, Swear to Care is working on a, I guess you could call it a movement. It's called the Handshake Challenge. And we've kind of shifted into being this anti-loneliness campaign in today's day and age, where social media is one of the biggest connectors as well as instigators of FOMO and separation. So, through the Handshake Challenge, we're trying to connect more people uh, internationally, nationally, just within your community, anyone, um, and get that empathy going. That's like our biggest thing, just getting people to care for one another again.
So, on the topic of social media, as a teen yourself experiencing firsthand the prevalence of social media, how do you think that it affects the mental health of teenagers, and what strategies can be employed to promote a more healthier online environment?
Social media is really tricky. Um, I think that if you're on social media, it's really challenging to avoid the consequences that come with being on the platform. A lot of my friends cope with these said consequences by taking social media fasts or breaks. It does help because you can kind of just step out of the digital world and reflect on your current life, look around you in the real world, experience nature, whatever you need to do in order to get back into the right frame of mind. Social media is very good at framing things in a way that makes them seem perfect or unreal. And that's because they aren't real. But that sets the standard and it makes us believe that we need to be someone else or achieve something else than what we are passionate about or who we are individually. On top of that, all of like the dopamine hits that you get from likes and follows and all of that stuff, it's not good. And it does lead to like social media addiction. And it's easy for me to say that I get it. Like, I'm also a teen, so you indulge, but it's important to be able to reconnect with yourself, your environment, and ground yourself in reality, and recognize that what you see on social media isn't the expectation. You set your own expectations, you set your own goals. And so being able to connect with that is the most important thing.
So your involvement with the Texas legislator is very, very impressive. So can you share some insights into how teens can be involved in the legislative advocacy and how it can positively impact mental health support for people our age? Or just additionally, why do you think that it's important to be a part of advocacy in realm of mental health or legislator or things that students are passionate about, why it's important to advocate and strive in that field?
Sure, definitely. So first of all, political advocacy is really, really important no matter who you are. A lot of people think that one voice can't really do anything, or just a couple of people grouped up together aren't going to make a huge difference when there are such huge politicians with such huge problems that they're addressing on the center stage, making all the decisions. That's not necessarily the case. Um, the public's voice and things that you bring to the table are the ones that are going to be discussed. They're the ones that the people like in the legislature are going to believe are important. Um, and whatever you believe in, for me, it was youth mental health and advocacy. You've got to step up and make that known, um, however possible. How you can get involved in political advocacy is really, really easy. You can either call your local uh, representative or senator, or you could just reach out to groups like mine, or there's another group called SEAT. There are tons of groups all across the state of Texas, and I'm sure across the nation that can help connect you with the right resources in order to make that impact. You can even just step into legislative sessions and testify on a subject that you're passionate about, or drop a card, or anything, really, sign a petition. All of those civic duties that you're taught in school do matter. And it's really fundamental that no matter who you are, whether you're, a preteen, a teen, a young adult, an adult, that you stay engaged.
So, how do you think your perspective on the topic of mental health has changed from when you were a freshman in high school to now your tail end of being a freshman in college?
I think initially, um, mental health is such a broad and complex subject, more complex than a lot of us believe it to be. That starting out, it definitely was hard to figure out what exactly the issues I was targeting were and how to go about targeting those issues. The way that I've come to approach mental health, especially youth mental health, is by really digging deep and focusing on the root of issues, the root of the problem. And in our case, we believe that that is the loneliness epidemic, about connection, about empathy. And that's what we're all about. So, I feel like over the years, it's just that I've developed a more nuanced understanding um, through self-education, through experiences, um, through testimonies of other people, just all kinds of things about what youth mental health really, really is and what we need to do in order to improve it in our country.
And then, how important do you think that mental health is during your teenage years and why?
During your teenage years, even like a lot of people call it adolescence, that period is very volatile when it comes to your emotions and your mental well-being. That has a lot of biological factors involved. It has a lot of social factors involved. You're going through many different transitions in this period. You're figuring out who you are as an individual, and that can be a really confusing um, time period for anyone. It's also one of the most fundamental developmental periods because you are figuring out who you are and what you want to do. Um, because of how volatile, therefore, an individual would be in that situation, it's important that our society and our community is able to adequately support them while you're on this journey of self-discovery. You don't need, like, you already have all kinds of obstacles in your way when you're trying to figure things out for yourself. We don't need additional obstacles. So, being able to take on that responsibility as a community member and empathizing and supporting just helps overall in general for just youth development. And who knows, like you might be creating the next president of the United States or the next, world change maker. So it's really, really important.
And then my last question to you is what advice would you give to someone who's struggling with their mental health, or like what kind of message would you leave for our Just Teen Stress audience?
I think the most important thing that I hope everyone understands is that, and it's said so many times, but it holds such a powerful meaning, that no matter what you're struggling with, you're not alone in in where you are. Um, it feels like there isn't anyone that understands or could understand what your situation is. Sometimes it might even feel like, yeah, I know what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling is illogical or it doesn't make sense, but it is what I'm feeling and I can't do anything about that. That's completely fine. It's completely okay to feel what you're feeling. We're human. We all have all kinds of experiences that we have to go through and grow from in our lives. But just know that there is another side to the tunnel. You're going to come out stronger. You're going to come out a better person, more learned, um, and just look forward to that peace, that the peace that comes after the storm, I think. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Soha, for talking to us about your thoughts and opinions about mental health, as well as sharing your story with us today. And thank you so much for helping us address teen stress.